The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. What a week it's been at the Chicagoland Speedway here in the area iRacing series. Monday and Tuesday were thrilling fit races filled with fuel mileage, tire strategies, multi-groove racing, green flag, three wide, everything that you could ask for out of a NASCAR event. Well, let's end out the week with some of the most difficult but most entertaining cars to drive here at the Xfinity Cars. Let's come here to Chicago and race some Florida Estate Builders Pro Series. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of, as I said, the Area Pro Series presented by Florida Estate Builders here at the Chicagoland Speedway for 130 laps around the mile and a half. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck pressing all the buttons. And of course, I got Hunter Sleppy here to help me out with all the color commentary. So Hunter, you had Monday night, I had Tuesday night. From what we spoke of, we had very similar affairs, very exciting races with all of the strategy and tire fall off that Chicagoland brings. And we have probably the most entertaining car to drive here to finish the week out.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Monday night was a bit different with tire wear. Tire wear really wasn't that much of a concern. Track position more so was. But the name of the game was fuel mileage mode. A lot of guys had already checked that box off thinking it would be a tire lottery when in reality it became a fuel lottery. Ask Brad Slaughter. He was leading with about 10 laps to go, and then all of a sudden on the last lap he went from having the possible top 5 finish falling outside the top 10 in 17th. So fuel mileage was the name of the game at the end of Monday night. Tuesday night, same thing as well, but this one's going to be a little more challenging because of the way the Xfinity car races compared to the Cup car and the truck. A lot more tire fall offs. Pretty sure the track temp might be hotter than it was earlier in the week, but we're still going to see the same grooves being used. The bottom, the middle, and I think the outside lane will be the preferred groove again. Track temp 111. It seemed to be the way Monday night, where you just carried that momentum coming off the corner and down the straightaway. So that's going to be a key part. And also want to be in the right place at the right time whenever those yellows do come out, because we had some yellows early on, and then it set up for a long green flag run to the end, which made it interesting for fuel.
Yeah, that certainly was the name of the game. Brian Mercurio winning on Tuesday night with less than a tenth of a gallon of Sunoco race fuel in his automobile. So we'll see what happens here. And again, as you said, maybe the next gen with the loading and whatnot doesn't wear the tires as much. Of course, that is a more significant topic of concern. But these NASCAR Xfinity cars and the trucks that we raced on Tuesday night putting a lot more more load into those tires, the thinner wheelbase. So certainly those tires will wear over 2 seconds over the course of a fuel stint. So that certainly should be interesting here. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in to PTR TV. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, have some fun with us in chat. Looking for 1,700 subscribers, need a little bit of help. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch, consider subscribing to the Area iRacing Twitch. You can get yourself custom emotes and get double points, earn yourself a chance to get free merch for only $5 a month here on the Twitch side of things. But our practice telemetry is up on the screen, and big shocker top of the board there. But look at David Weishart, P2, someone who's usually mid-teens, and maybe he's having a little Chicagoland luck here tonight.
Yeah, he had an interesting strategy call on Monday night where he pitted earlier than some guys and tried to. He was good to go on fuel. Just track position really wasn't his friend. He needed a yellow to come out in order for that strategy to go through on Monday night. I think he finished just outside the top 10, as some guys did run out. But this is a track where David Weishart is usually good at. He actually won here back in season 4. Connor Euroshak in season 5, and then Jeff Wright most recently last season as well. And usually the winner comes from inside the first 3 rows. The only one to come from the pole was Euroshak in first. Weishart won it from 4th in season 4. Then season 6 last season, Jeff Wright started from P6. So qualifying is going to be fun. You should expect to see some fast names be up there. And actually, for qualifying on Monday night, the top 5 consisted of guys that were all outside the top 20 in points. The pole sitter actually started, Justin Sogak. He was 31st in points heading into this one. So could see some shocking names come up to the front.
Yeah, certainly the case. Of course, we saw a lot of shakeup the other day. We didn't know how it was going to work out with all the strategy at play. So we'll certainly see what happens tonight as these guys getting their qualifying laps underway here this evening. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, because these qualifying laps might be less important than we thought because of the amount of kerfuffling, if such a word exists, that occurred at Darlington last week. But we'll see who at least earns that top spot on the pylon and gets that pivotal first pit stall. Well, actually, maybe not too pivotal here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, Chicagoland, there's going to be a good bit of guys going to the back with EOLs. Like the guy that's been at the top of his game this season, Sebastian Marin, he's got an EOL. Greg Mitchell, Brady Wildman, Jeremy Brown, Joseph Berg, and Rafe Slate. If all those guys are here, they've got EOLs, so their qualifying position really doesn't matter. And then we also had a couple of suspensions after what happened last week at Darlington with some post-race shenanigans. With Liam Sheen, I don't believe he's here tonight, even if he wanted to be. He's suspended. Same with Connor O'Kresick. He's suspended as well. So a couple of guys sitting this one out this week. A lot went on last week at Darlington. I think it's going to somewhat calm down, but this is a track where it's wide enough for these guys to go 3 and 4 wide. And here's one of the guys that started inside the top 5 this past Monday, Blaze McKinney.
Where will he line up here as the times are free flowing in? 6th on the board. That's not too shabby. Marin top of the board, but again, that won't mean anything per what we just discussed here. Reese Schaefer next in line to run a lap, and he's someone who's been maybe about a teen to 20th place car for the most part this season. Let's see what he can muster. Goal is a 31 flat. A few tenths off of that, he will be relinquished down to the 12th spot. Not too shabby. Philip Groner coming through here, and it looks like the 28 of John Furness, I think, is going to be the next car, actually, but he's already run his laps. He's just going for bonus time here.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, still a good bit of drivers that have yet to put a time down. I don't believe we'll have any go-or-go homers. Seems like everyone that's in tonight will make it into the show. So for now, Zach Nichols will be the presumed pole sitter. If all things go well, what about Travis Beckner in the 27, looking to bounce back after a up and down race on Monday?
Yeah, he'll be P9, Braxton DeWeese. And that lap time of 25, that'll be P14. Philip Groner about to cross the stripe. P7 for him. 26, Jonathan Evans. Where is he going to muster himself? He just completed his lap. We'll see where he shakes in. Looks like 16th is going to be for him. Marin still on track. Who else do we get? 77, Mike Venable. Let's see what he can muster in that number 77. He was kind of up and down through the field at Darlington. And he will. That's a pretty good one. That's a really good one, and that should put him in 3rd. Good job from Mr. Mike.
So the minute remaining, looks like Jake Nichols is 2nd, so he would be the presumed pole sitter. Don't think he'll get the points for it. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I'll have to discuss that one at some point. But Casey Lacasse in the 50 coming through 21st quick. And here's Monday night's pole sitter, Justin Sogak. Won't be able to get on pole tonight, 13th at the moment.
Gonna see anybody else who is on circuit here. Matthew Batby going for the last second qualifying lap here. Let's see, 31.22. Looks like that'll be in the mid-teens. We got Bryce Senesac in the spoiler die-cast Camaro, that number 09 car. What's he going to be able to muster here? Again, cutting that apron on the front stretch, a 29. That should put him in the middle of the hornet's nest. Indeed, it does. James Scioli didn't get to see his lap, but he just put himself in 16th and then just decimated it. He wants to go to a fictitious backup car, evidently.
Yeah, he's been so close the last couple of weeks winning Monday night in the Cup Series. His two teammates for Solar Flare Racing, Jake Nichols, Seth Knoll, they went back-to-back on Mondays, and James Scioli in the 7. He lost the points lead last week to Sebastian Marin, and Scioli's still looking for his first win of the season. He has the same top 5s. He has more top 10s than Marin, but he doesn't have those wins. And Marin's got 4 wins. Kemp has that win earlier this season at Daytona, which, by the way, he's 20th in points. He has to stay inside the top 20 in points in order to be playoff eligible, so it's going to be close there. And I don't believe Logan Clampett's here, which is the only other driver that's won a race this season.
Now our points after Darlington currently on the screen, and just as you said, Marin top of the board again. Scioli was getting the points lead for a few weeks, but finally wins came over consistencies. Marin gets up there. Then you have the Nichols Knott brothers, 3rd and 4th, Zach and Jake respectfully. And then we start to kind of taper on back there. Forbes, Beckner, Opplinger, Furness, McKinney, and Kerr, 100 points separating our top 10 here as we are 7 races into our regular season.
Yeah, Justin Opplinger, he moved inside the top 10 last week after a solid finish, +4 in the standings. Last 3 races, he's finished inside the top 10. 6th at Darlington, 7th at the Rock, and 8th at Watkins Glen after a miserable stretch to start the season. And then mentioned Blaze McKinney as well, +3 up to 9th in the standings afterwards. He had a good finish last week to bounce back in the point standings. He finished 8th at Darlington. He's also had another top 10 at Indianapolis as well, only other top 10 of the season, but starting to get in the rhythm at the right time as the regular season's winding down.
Regular season winding on now. Got to get yourself in that good position for our area playoffs, because this season, as quickly as it seems like it just begun, we are already kind of in that middle point there, getting ready for the end of the regular season, because this season ends in its entirety, if I'm not mistaken, middle of July. So only 2 more months or so to go. So got to get yourself where you need to be for that time here. But you can see that time's coming in to no surprise. Sebastian Marin fastest in the warm-up. Jonathan Evans putting up a good time there in that number 26 car. And it's not that anyone doesn't know, but just as a little track map guide here of the Chicagoland Speedway, we talked to Rockingham extensively about iRacing's measurement system, but iRacing is measuring this place at 1.53 miles. So I don't know if that was on your bingo card, but enjoy the distinguishing feature here. Of course, that slightly curved back straightaway, which gives you that little bit extra of an arc into 3, helps you out with your line.
Yeah, and real quick, that Brant signage there on the backstretch, that might be a trouble spot for some guys, especially coming off turn 2. We saw guys come out 4 wide and go into turn 3 4 wide. Just seems like there's that extender of the safer barrier that kind of clips out for both the exits of turn 2 and turn 4, but turn 2 is a little bit more mesmerizing because that Brant signage, it doesn't start necessarily on that on the end of that concrete wall and safer barrier mix. See how it starts right at the middle point of turn 2, and it kind of just blends in. So some guys get into the wall there. Might be a trouble spot for the night. Yeah,
I could see right there. We always talk about it, that tapering point there always ends up being a point of contention. But right now we need you to head down trackside for that PTR TV starting lineup. Get our starting lineup here tonight, brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a mobile home or a new shed, large or small home, triple crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plan designs, shed designs, and triple crown trailers available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Cluson, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com. I always stutter when I try to ad lib it. I should just read the script. But Hunter, go off and start us with our starting lineup here tonight.
Alrighty. Well, he would be rolling off pole, Sebastian Marin in the 24, but tonight he's got an EOL, so he'll be in the back. Jake Nichols will stay inside the front row. Just going to start second. In row 2, it's going to be Michael Venable in the 77, P3. P4, it's the 44, Zach Nichols. And row 3, he's really hot as of late, John Forbes Jr. going to roll off 5th. And alongside him, Connor Horn in the 57. It'll be P6. Another driver who's getting hot at the right time, Justin Opplinger, P7. P8 alongside him is Jeff Wright, last season's winner here. And row 5, it's Daniel Day in the 61 and Philip Groner to his outside.
11th place will find the likes of John Furness, with Blaze McKinney going to be in the number 12 position. 13 finds Justin Bolton and Justin Anasogak in 14th. Our Hendry County flagman, Mr. Travis Beckner, in 15th, with our second place pointsman, Mr. James Scioli out of Washington, in 16th. Matthew Batby and David Weishart. Weishart was, remember, he was fast in practice. 19th and 20th will find Jeremy Miller in the 30, and the Aussie, Mr. Zach Kerr.
21st, it's going to be Jonathan Evans. Alongside him in 22nd, Braxton Deweese. 23rd, he almost had a great finish Monday night. Brad Slar looking to get revenge in a bounce-back race. Jimmy Cocker in the 31 can roll off alongside him in 24th. 25th, it'll be Bryce Senesac, and alongside him, Casey Lacoste in 26th. 27th, Reese Schaefer in the 07, and 28th, Alan Fox in the number 90. Row 15, it's Forrest Smith in the 15, going to roll off 29th, and alongside him, Nico Servideo in the 18, going to roll off 30th.
Well, let's let the rest of these scroll on by. Nate Stewart, 31st, and because with the EOLs, and actually we don't have any DNQs here today, so for the most part this will be accurate in terms of a time perspective. Liam Sheen registered, but will not be racing for reasons that we already previously mentioned. And then shotgun on the field, 39th, Mr. Joseph Berg, but he will actually, no, he did get a penalty himself, so he will remain shotgun on the field. As we head down and start our situation here, we'll have 2 pace laps because admin's usually pretty nice to us and gives us that. Our race details, we have 130 laps. Of course, no stages. All this is par for the course here in the Area iRacing Series. The 4 sets of tires will be very much needed, very much desired, and those pit decisions will be very important. Our keys to the race: fuel strategies. We saw them on Monday and we saw them on Tuesday, and I see no reason as to why we won't see them here on Thursday. You can run anywhere. All 35 feet of this racetrack are usable, multi-lane all over the place, and the massive tire fall off, we saw upwards of 2 seconds in the trucks, and I expect that to carry over here tonight.
Yeah, this one going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. Looking through the history of this place, we've averaged about 4 yellows, so we do expect to see some yellows. Not so much of a green flag stint to the end, though. We usually average around 20 to go. Our last yellow and last season came around 26 to go. No overtimes yet. Could change this time around. And pass for the lead usually tends to happen a little bit later on in the race. I don't think the math is correct on this. It's saying average the last pass made for the lead 13 to go. Maybe it's around 11 to go. Last season, Jeff Wright took the lead with 3 laps to go and cruised to victory. Didn't lead the most laps either. Only led 16, and usually the case is guys lead about 40 laps or so, but last season Jeff Wright broke that. Nonetheless, going to be fun seeing these guys fan out 2, 3. We saw them 4 wide. They could fit 5 wide on the front stretch. I don't think they'll do that, but if they can, they want to. Should be fun nonetheless here at Chicagoland.
Of course, indeed. To get yourself buckled in, get your drink, get your snack. We're going to have a night full of racing. Get your brain ready, because I bet it's going to be fried with all the fun that we're going to have in the strategy calls. Barney has the flag in hand. He's going to get it waving as we go through the Geico zone. Green flag in the air, and let's go racing here from Chicago. Venable and Nichols leading the charge into turn 1.
So you already think that was Blaze McKinney there, rolling that 3rd lane, that upper groove. And the Celsius car back there, but they're slowly fanning out to 3 wide, still mostly 2 wide through turn 3. Venable on the inside, Jake Nichols on the outside. Who comes through to the line first to lead the first lap?
We'll see what happens here from the inside lane. It looks as though it's going to be the 77, but the outside charge looks like it'll still be the 77, but if Nichols can stay alongside, enter in the corner here, maybe use that outside lane to his advantage, as he is side by side, uses that extra little bit of grip that the outside provides, that momentum down that curved branch stretch. And I believe Jake Nichols will remain advantageous, but no. Venable is staying tough down to the inside, and usually the inside's a little bit more prominent through 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's shown right there, and Jake came up 1 spot short from winning his 2nd straight Cup race this past Monday. His teammate Seth Knoll got the job done, so he's looking to fix that 1 spot issue and try to finish on top here, and he'll get the run down the back and have the lead for the moment, but Venable's still putting a charge to the inside.
Yes, he is, and I will say this is probably the most recent racing I did here on iRacing was actually an Xfinity race here at Chicago. I have some first-hand knowledge with this place. I'll tell you, I am much more comfortable on the bottom through 3 and 4. I think that's going to be where you want to be. But you'll see a lot of guys, as you were saying, Hunter, run that top of the track, which is why I think Nichols will eventually make this pass. But the other thing that I did notice is that there's a propensity here, Hunter. Whatever lane you run, that's kind of where you're stuck, because your tires don't like changing lanes as the race goes. I ran the bottom for a lot of my race. When I went to the top, the car wasn't there. So where you run early kind of dictates, where the handling's going to stay for the rest of the run.
Nichols takes over as the leader, a little further back, right around the back half of this top 10. McKinney started that 3-wide move early, still running 8th. As Daniel Dage was inside, Philip Brunner in 10th there, so not a whole lot has changed as of now. Throughout the half of the top 10, Furness was close in on that. Meanwhile, a little further back, Zach Kerr, the 71, Matthew Bappy running in 15th, trying to throw a block there, I believe, on, who's at the 7 of Scioli. I'm still trying to get used to that 7 scheme. I'm still so used to seeing this purple, pink, black, number 7. It's bright green now, kind of resembles Bryce Senesac a bit, but blinking in and out, actually.
Yeah, a little bit of connectivity issues. Never anything that you want to see. As a little bit further up, I think we saw McKinney to the outside, Furness down to the inside, and that number at 28. But he'll remain where he is. Up front, Nichols is starting to gap a little bit, but let's go back a little bit further. We'll find Casey Lakatos and Matthew Batby. Lakatos using that middle lane, and you get to see the advantage he gets. The bottom is bumpy, the top is bumpy. I say the middle line is probably the smoothest part of the racetrack, again, on that 20-year-old asphalt here in Joliet.
Indeed, as Travis Beckner's trying to look to the outside of Justin Bolton for the 12th spot, and he's looking to get a little more on the outside of Furness now for 11th. On board with Bolton, I think he fell back a good bit in points. I'm trying to find where he was. He was on the charge up. Yeah, he still is on the charge up. He's up to 17th in the point standing, so bit by bit he's closing the gap down, but he'll have to settle in line behind Furness now, down 13th.
Settling in here as we are, and I think it's just the nature of the Xfinity car in general. As you can see, he is trying to use the line that nobody's using. That's the tippity top of the racetrack. Gets a whale of a run there in that number 4 car, but now he has to find a way to use it through 3 and 4. And I don't think that line is going to persevere as much, but I think it's just a factor of these Xfinity cars. Hunter, the trucks were essentially Daytona Junior, and I'm sure the next gen probably resembled that very rudimentarily, but these Xfinity cars with the higher power, with the less grip, less wheelbase, all that fun stuff, it's going to be harder for them to sustain that kind of pack-style racing we maybe saw earlier in the week.
Yeah, and lap times are already starting to show a different sign of things. Already at least half a second, 6, 7, 8 tenths off the fastest lap of the race so far. And like I mentioned, we're just about to cross through 9 laps done. Just looking through some of the fastest times on the board. And I mentioned Justin Bolton was on the charge down in the standings. My apologies there. He's only done 4 races. He finished top 10 in each one, 3 of those being in the 4th position. So clearly Justin Bolton knows what he's doing. He's 1 spot shy of that top 10 spot as of now. A little further back here, Jonathan Evans in the 26, trying to work around the 29 of David Weishart there, rolling on the outside lane. You mentioned that he had speed in practice. See if the race speed can keep up with what he had in practice.
So far, kind of running right where he qualified, and going a little bit further back to Sebastian Mayer. And remember, the pole sitter who didn't get to retain it, he'll still have that number 1 pit stall, though, if caution comes out. That's Reese Schaefer, yes, slideways right in front of Marin here. And then just in front of that, the 15 of Forrest Smith got a little bit high, nearly into that safer barrier taper point that we were talking about. We talk about that quite a bit on some of these older, outdated tracks where it hasn't been full perimeter. But look at the 07 trying to rock the top loose, nearly into the right rear of Marin. Holds on to it, but that costs him a ton of time. Here comes Kemp. Here comes the 31 car of Jimmy Cocker.
Not sure what happened that last time through turn 1. He was just super sideways and clipped the apron. I'm not sure if he had contact with anyone or if he just misjudged it that badly, but bad lap for the 07, trying to righting the ship. Meanwhile, the 48 of Jeff Wright, he is on his way to the front inside the podium, paying position in third. Won last season, looking to go back-to-back here as he's trying to catch up with the 77 of Michael Venable about 6/10 up the road.
Yeah, Michael Venable, remember, he led, actually, I don't know if he actually led a lap because he was side by side. Yeah, he did get 2 of them. So the 77 did get some laps led here. Jake Nichols out to just about 3/4 of a second ever since he took the lead. And I don't know if we've got a fuel number there, Hunter. I will say in the truck series, they were about running out at about 52, 53, which I thought was pretty low. I thought they'd probably go low 60s. But as we know here at Chicago, from what we're already seeing, a fuel load and when you want to pit, those are not linear. Well, those are not the same numbers here this week.
Cup, it was around 60 to 65. That's why some guys were trying to save fuel and push it to possibly doing a one stop, and then some yellows came out and thwarted that strategy call. So it made for a fun finish. Had about a 60 lap stint to the end. Some guys were out of fuel. Some guys were just able to make it on fuel. So riding in car here with John Furness has got a good look at Opplinger and Travis Beckner cracking the top 10. As far as tonight's concerned, I would say it's about the same, around 55 to 60. Some guys might try to push it a little bit further just to try and get into that one stop zone right around 65.
65, but I will bet you everything that I got nobody wants to go 65 laps on tires here. We're already down a second after 15 laps. I would probably say we'll plateau around probably 2 seconds of fall off based on what we saw. Remember Darlington last week, right in that same category. We saw a ton of fall off. So Chicago is a track that same kind of stuff is, going to take place. So we'll see what happens here today. 130 laps. We had some guys doing a 40, 80, 120, pit twice, split it into thirds. You could probably do that here today, 43, 63. I don't think we're going to be split in half. As you said, 65 here in the Xfinity cars might be a little bit too much to ask. But that's also under the impression that this thing goes flag to flag, which I'm sure you have the stats if it ever has. But that is kind of a tall order.
Kind of say, just basing off what I'm seeing, probably around lap 35, maybe a little earlier, but definitely between lap 35 and 40. If it stays green, you can see some guys come down and try to split into thirds. That's the earliest that you could probably go and give some sort of life into the tires and just give it some time to be used rather than just wait to the very end and then not have enough time to use it, as John Forbes Jr. was on the charge up. He's on the charge down now, trying to hold off Zach Nichols from taking fourth away. Don't know if he clipped the wall coming out of 2, but he got awfully close. And speaking of awfully close, that 77 Venable is awfully close to the leader, Jake Nichols. And by the way, almost 20 laps into this race, lap times, Jake Nichols' fastest lap was a 31.4. We'll see what this time is. But his most recent time was 33.0. This one's a 33.05. So almost 2 seconds of fall off, almost 20 laps in.
Yep, and you can already see that Jake Nichols going to the top of the racetrack, and Venable still able to rip right on the bottom of the speedway, which typically means that he saved his tires a little bit better, because when you have to change your line, usually it's because of a handling situation. What a lot of drivers will do is they'll just keep it on the white line the entire time. That kind of preserves the tires a little bit more as you're staying in that rubber. So when you have more rubber on the track, the tires do wear a little bit less. When you go up to the top, there's more grit up there that kind of rips that Goodyear rubber right off for them and puts it into the track. So you can see the 73 running up there, using a little bit more of those tires, but he's going to maintain that speed, and he's going to make Venable really have to fight to make this pass.
He ran a 33.11 that last time, 33.14 for Venable, 33.15 for Jeff Wright, and then John Forbes actually ran faster than the top 3, the 33.10, but you can see where he's starting to taper off. He's running the high line through 1 and 2, running the bottom in 3 and 4. It's paying off. He's faster than the 77. Just going to keep doing that until we either get a yellow or he makes his way down pit road.
we'll see what the case is here. It's about halfway through, and we expect pit stops to be had. Somebody we haven't spoken of here this race is, outside of the grid anyways, Mr. Nate Stewart. Remember, someone who has already been to Victory Circle here this season, I do believe. And he started in 31st, already up half the field, and a gaggle in front of him, including his points competitor there, his nearest points competitor, Scioli. And you can see Scioli not really heading in the right direction here, and it looks like Stewart's going to try to rip the outside and maybe go Bob's your uncle 2 for 1. Somebody into the wall there. I think that was Opplinger, but everybody carries on just fine.
Yeah, Nate Stewart running 16th in the standings, so this race right around where he's at. Only one top 10, and it was his only top 5 as well. That was at Watkins Glen. Other than that, he's been either on the cusp of the top 10 or downright in the 30s. So it's a very up and down season for Nate Stewart. But if he gets a win, stays inside the top 20, he's locked into the playoffs. But still enough time for him to try and race his way into the top 12 in the point standings, and he'll have a look to the inside of Scioli heading into turn 3.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to dive it in too deep, because that 12 of Zach Kerr is going to kind of bind his momentum, put a lot of dirty air on the front of that 0-5, and Scioli going to use that outside lane to his advantage, try to persevere, try to hang on for now, and see if maybe he can dive onto the outside lane of Zach Kerr. He'll do that through 1 and 2. And then I assume you can see here on the left side of the track, can he get to the right rear? Yes, he can get to the right rear of that Hendry County's Camaro. And he'll hang on to the spot for now. In fact, go +1.
Scioli trying to hold off Zach Kerr. He's going to clip Abram just a little bit. Going to be a bad exit for him. Good exit for the 7. He'll have a look on Opplinger in the 55. He's on the climb downwards outside the top 10. And the 7's on the climb up. Yeah, not a good stint so far for the 55. Holy cow, someone's all the way up near the outside wall. It wasn't McKinney, it was whoever was behind him. They were really fanning out there coming out of turn 2.
David Weishart maybe trying to run the Reddick line, the Larson line, whoever you want to call it here. I will say I know we're using fixed setups. I don't know if it's a custom fixed setup or if it's the one straight off of iRacing, but the one straight off of iRacing, so much rebound in that suspension that you can't run that top against the fence in 3 and 4. It's basically like running a washboard up there. So if he's able to do that, kudos to him. It was out of my skill set for sure, but this is the best battle on the racetrack here. This is all about 15th spot. You see a big wiggle from Weishart. Stewart up to 14th, Scioli in 13th. And top 10 is going to be Travis Beckner, who is about maybe a second ahead of all this hoopla. A little bit further up, we have Groner and Daniel Day. A great day for Daniel Day, trying to evade that automatic pun. But either way, top 10 for him, currently 18th in points. So having a solid top 10 day would do wonders for him.
Yeah, he's finished inside the top 10 his last 2 times out in the Pro Series. 10th at Darlington, 8th at Rockingham, and he's really qualified well in those 2 races as well, both inside the top 10, and he qualified inside the top 10 tonight. Looking to see if he can go for 3 straight races with a top 10 finish. He's got 3 overall in the season, and mentioned a 10th place finish last week at Darlington. That propelled him into the top 20 in points. So if he gets a good enough run to put himself in the winning position and he gets that done, could be smooth sailing to the playoffs. Connor Horn, being quiet. Oh, Forbes Jr. lost it there coming out of turn 2. Not quite anymore for the 56 Horn. That was a moment. We'll have to take a look at a replay presented by Hendry County Motorsports Park.
Now let's see. They were side by side. Horn went down to the inside of the racetrack, and he hit that safer barrier taper point that you talked about there, Connor. The safer barrier doesn't flush around the entire Brant stretch there. It kind of tapers out, go down to concrete, tapers back in the entry of 3, and if you catch it the wrong way, you can see the end result.
Yeah, John Forbes Jr. lucky to only lose 1 spot there. He's probably going to lose another to Philip Groner in the 11 on the climb up on that outside lane. Daniel Day trying to run the same tire tracks, and Justin Bolton going to be close with him as well. He's inside the top 10. Beckner behind as well. It's a big conga line if you lose sight of that 1 spot, and Beckner is going to have a look to the inside of Bolton for 9th.
Again, our Hendry County flagman there, and I didn't think there was room up top, but Justin Bolton says, hold my beer, no pun intended, and didn't have the opportunity, come to fruition, but he went for it, which was the amazing thing there. But he's stuck behind Day. Now he's going to say, oh, there might be a hole in the middle. There might be a hole in the middle. There's not, but he was looking for it. And that 61 getting a little bit free on board with Bolton here. And that's Beckner trying to, I thought he was going to cut the apron, didn't think anything of it. Now let's see where they split off to in quarter number 1. See, look at the 61 running a lane off the wall. Bolton says, well, you left me a lane. I'm going to use it. But it didn't come to fruition, didn't really help him at all.
Help Daniel Day, though. He'll have a run to the inside of the Fords Jr. for that 7th spot, and Beckner will have a look again to the inside of Bolton for 9th on the track. Furness licking his chops, trying to climb inside the top 10, encouraging the battles to continue so he can reel him in, and they stay this side by side for another lap or two. Matthew Batby in the 71 might be able to close in on the mix as well. Beckner still giving it his all, though, going in the 1 on the bottom. A lot more guys starting to move up to that outside lane. You get the momentum run through the corner and onto the straightaway, and Beckner's the only one that's still giving it his all on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's where I think the best place is to be, is on the bottom of the track from a tire perspective, but it does hurt you with momentum, so you have to kind of mind your P's and Q's and make those decisions dynamically. It might not be the thing you want to do every lap, but, run by yourself in one lane, run defensively in another, offensively in another. You just make those decisions. Up front, Jake Nichols was under fire for a brief moment by Venable. That lead got down to 0.2 of a second. It has grown back to roughly 0.75 of a second here. So he has kind of survived that storm temporarily here as we are nearing lap number 35. We'll go back to this battle on the track, and just to throw noggins in the back of your head there, folks watching this race. Hunter estimated lap 35 may open the pit window for some of these guys. Probably between 35 and 55. That's going to open the sequence of pit stops, and we are already down 2 seconds on the stopwatch. So whoever draws first blood, it's going to cause someone to make a rash decision, make you question your strategy. Do you have a strategy? All that is coming into play right now.
Me personally, no. Some guys, they might have already been working up with their teams coming into this one if it went clean and green for as long as it has so far. If you really want to move up with track position and be the first one to get the jump on everybody else in the field, probably pitting early would be the way to go, just to kind of mix things up, especially if you're running outside the top 20, maybe just try to gain some more track position, like maybe Francis Hamilton, if you're him in the 23. Running 31st, I mean, it wouldn't really hurt if you pitted early, kind of be the first domino effect, so then people can kind of panic pit and be like, oh no, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose all my track position, I'm going to lose all my time. I'll have to see if that's the way to go. Anna Sogak in the 88, Bryce Senesak in the 09, side by side inside the top 25. That is for 23rd on the racetrack.
Yep, they're having a nice battle there, and I said it to, I want to say it was Brian Mercurio the other day in his interview. Does it get difficult as a driver to stick to your strategy when you might be on a 2-stopper, someone else is on a 3-stopper, someone else is on a fuel-only strat? Is it hard to stick to your strategy knowing that I'm getting my doors blown off, but you got to think of the bigger picture? I feel like, and he actually said, he did attest to that. You question yourself when you're going 2.5 seconds slower than somebody else, knowing that in the end, if I did my math right, it should all play out.
Some guys were in a tough spot Monday as well, to where they pitted and then they had to save fuel, but they really couldn't because they were inside the top 5. I mean, Brad Slaughter, he was about 3/4 of a lap short. He ran out in turn 1 on the last lap, but he really couldn't save because he was leading. He was having his best race of the season, and it was so difficult because if he saved just a little bit longer, he probably would have lost the lead and would have finished 2nd or 3rd or 4th anyway. But if the opportunity to win is in front of you, you go and get it, and he went for it. He got past with a few laps to go, and, well,
caution.
Forget about green flag pit stops. The yellow is out on track for Daniel Day in the 61.
Commentator's Curtis was just saying he was having a great sequence of runs here, and our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay will uncover, and then perhaps Hendry County caused the caution. Well, he was a part of the caution. I wouldn't say caused it, but we'll get one more brief perspective from a top-down camera. Watch that number 27. We'll have to go on board here and uncover this mystery. We'll go on board with Batby, because Batby had a pretty good look at it. 61 into the wall, came down the track. Beckner really had nothing he could do there.
That kind of throws everything out the window as far as green flag pit stops, at least for now. First yellow, so these guys, they all should come in and get tires. I'm not sure if anyone would risk Ponder doing 2. The lap times were already 2 seconds off from the fastest time set at the beginning of the run.
If you took 2 tires now, you want to call a psych ward after, because that will not be a good decision, but you never know. And this might be an opportunity for some guys to use their pit stall. Sebastian Marin having that P1 stall, even though he's relegated back to 15th, that may get him a spot or 2. So we'll see how that plays out here. Jake Nichols had that lead. It is all going to be eradicated now. Make sure you get into your box nice and smooth. Don't overslide your pit stall there. Everyone doing a great job here under our first caution of the race. And let's see who gets the battle on out.
Merritt might be able to make up some time with his first pit stall. Won't be a lot, though, because Nichols is going to come out as the leader. Things are going to get shaken up just a bit. Connor Horn up to 4th. I think everyone stayed the same in the top 3. Nichols lost a spot. Forbes Jr. picked up a spot. Furness a couple of spots. He's inside the top 10 now. Bolton lost about 3, maybe 4 spots.
Things largely stay the same, which is a good thing. That means that nobody had a penalty or nobody made any critical mistakes there. But again, this caution in that our replays tonight, which haven't had to use too much of, but they're brought to you by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing will be back here. If you're watching this live, it'll be back in 2 days on May 10th for the Crusoe late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $20 for adults. Kids age 5 and under are free. You can bring a family of 4 to the track for just $25. Come see the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. You can visit HendryCounty.com. And Travis Beckner, you get Zach Kerr, a bunch of cars here today with that paint scheme or livery, depending on which side of the pond you're on. Cover road racing, it's a livery. If you're American, it's a paint scheme, but take your pick.
There'll always be a paint scheme in me, but I am American, so that's the way I was born and raised. And looking forward to seeing a lot of these paint schemes, not in the virtual world, but in the real world. I think in a couple weeks' time, me and a group of guys will be over in Charlotte for the Coke 600 weekend. Going to be a fun one because we're going for all day Saturday at the racetrack, and with the way real life racing is, trucks are okay, Cup it's kind of meh, mile and a halfs are all right, but the Xfinity car, whether it's in the virtual world or in the real world, it's the top car in NASCAR. I just love the show that it puts on. I'm looking forward to it. Got a mile and a half here, mile and a half in a couple of weeks. In the real world, should be fun. Jake Nichols, Michael Venable in the front row, going to lead the field back to green.
That outside lane with Jake Nichols going to persevere here, and a good run from Connor Horn in that 57. He may be able to persevere and get the second spot from that outside. Typically the out lap here, the first lap after caution, you want to be down low. But Connor Horn is going to maintain if Venable doesn't door him there, which he did a little bit, wiggled up the track. Horn will maintain for now. Jeff Wright trying to lick his chops and figure out where he wants to go, but Connor Horn going P2, but no. Venable digging deep on the inside.
This could be huge for Connor Horn. When the yellow came out, he was P6. After pit stops, P4. He might be second after this one's said and done. Take a couple of laps, because these guys is as fresh as their tires will ever be. He might have a good enough run to try and take the lead from Nichols. They're going to touch coming out of 2. Side by side for the moment. Nichols trying to get away from it all.
Connor Horn sees the light at the end of the tunnel, and he wants it. He's had some good runs taken away from him in recent weeks, and if you do that, it's certainly going to get taken away from him in the 77. That's the second time they've door tapped here just in this restart, going all the way down to the flat, something they haven't done too many times here today. Nichols trying to survive the storm. I think he knows if he could survive the storm, that he should be able to pull away as the tires start to age. But he might be having to drive a little bit harder than he wants to at this juncture.
Well, speaking of driving harder, one driver has already driven hard enough on this restart. Well, since the restart, Sebastian Marin in that purple-pink number 24, who was 14th coming out of pit road. He had the EOL after winning the pole, so he's had to climb from all the way in the back all the way in the front. He's inside the top 10 now. He's picking off these guys one by one, all while being on the outside lane. Meanwhile, up from the leader, Nichols on the outside lane, losing the lead to Michael Venable in the 77. Connor Horn looking to take over second.
Horn went all the way down to the inside, but doesn't have the momentum, so move that 77 up to P1. Put that 73 in dirty air for the first time tonight since, well, I guess the first time since probably about lap 2 that 73 has had some dirty air. But let's go back to this Hornet's nest at the back end of the top 10. Nate Stewart, we talked about Sebastian Marin, Travis Beckner in there, Scioli, Zach Kerr, who's doing pretty well here this evening. Everybody trying to get themselves sorted, and here comes Marin. Is he looking 3 wide? No, it's going to be 2 wide down to the inside of Groner here in 3 and 4.
Oh, there's one guy you don't want to climb up and possibly thwart your plans of victory. It's that 24 of Sebastian Marin. A little further up, the 17 of Forbes Jr. trying to fight with the 44 Zach Nichols for top 5 position. Beckner and Furness actually behind. They're closing in, but they're still door to door for the 7th spot. I was going to say Venable is having a great run. Nichols still hounding on his bumper, but Venable 27th in points. This could be huge for him if he could pull off this victory. Still have a good bit of ways to go, but his best race this season was a mile and a half earlier at Homestead, where he finished second, so not too many people remember about that. He finished 11th last week at Darlington, so already coming in with some momentum. A little further back here, this top 10 battle still heating up. Nate Stewart holds that spot. Skyly to the inside of Philip Groner, 11th and 12th. Mentioned Justin Bolton in the 4. He didn't have a good pit stop sequence. He fell outside the top 10 trying to average that out. And here comes Jake Nichols to the inside of Michael Venable for the leadoff 4.
Inside versus outside, and who is going to get it here? Venable manages to keep it off the wall, which is a more difficult thing to do than the trends have dictated here. And Jake Nichols trying to run that inside lane, and good defense on the outside, but if he can drive it on in, no slide job quite yet. But look at that 77 maintaining the run. 73 just manages to stay off the left rear quarter panel, loses the momentum off of 2, and that brings Connor Horn back into it in the 57.
I was looking at the lap times on the green flag run prior, after about 15 or 20 laps or so. Lap times sort of averaged out. They were like the top 3, 4, even the top 5 at times. They all ran the same times, maybe just a few 1,000ths of a second off each other. So Venable looking to hold on to that lead position because clean air is obviously better than dirty air. But when you're the 73 in Nichols and you preserve the tires a little bit better than your competitors, that certainly has an advantage of its own. Meanwhile, battle for the podium spot now. Connor Horn blocking the 44 of Zach Nichols. Jeff Wright, they're going to touch just a bit coming off 4. Jeff Wright's going to hold on to that spot. For the lead heading into turn 1, Jake Nichols has the advantage over Michael Venable.
Yeah, Jake Nichols got a run off of 4 down to the inside, but Venable's going to have the run from the outside, and he'll drive it on deep, maintain that momentum off of turn number 2, run it down the back and into turn number 3. And will Nichols go for the send? I don't think he's going to be able to. He's going to run a conservative line down there, running through the bumps on that outside lane is Venable. Nichols can't run all that real estate up to the top of the track, has to bind the car down to keep that lane open. And that cost him the run, and he'll be stuck side by side one more lap. And look at that bright pink car, 24 in the 6th position.
Yeah, the more they stay side by side, the more that 24 catches, and the more Connor Horn, Jeff Wright, Zach Nichols, they're reeling them in as well. So they're going to have to sell this out pretty quick if they want to try and break away a little bit from the pack. It's not going to be this time, though. Nichols still with a strong charge to the inside. Venable with the momentum, carrying him on the corner exit. Going to be able to clear him for now, but that 24 is hounding the top 5 just up the road.
Now let's pull up the lap times on the ticker on the left side of your screen. Well, that is 13 laps since our last pit stops, and 32.44 to a 32.54 for the leader, so a 10th up in the bank for Marin. Now he's not having to battle anybody, which certainly does help. And speaking of battling, here we go again. Jake Nichols drives it on in there. You can call that a slide job, I suppose. Drove it on in there into 3, loses his momentum. Crossover move for Venable, goes all the way down to the flat. He hasn't had to battle on the inside, and I don't know if he'll have to yet because he has lost the lead. But the inside lane will be left open by Nichols, who runs the top, but he'll have it with ease now. 73 back to the front as he slightly wiggles off the corner.
Yeah, that's a settle in line for the time being as Nichols has reclaimed the race lead. And mentioned all this talk about the 24, Sebastian Marin charging through the top 10. How about Nate Stewart in the 05? It's been a little bit quieter. He's had to come from the back as well to the front and need some momentum to carry himself into the playoffs, heading into the right direction. So good run for that 05. Meanwhile, behind him, they're 3 wide here between John Forbes Jr., John Furness, and then James Scioli there trying to close in on the party as well. Philip Gruner trying to close in, and Zach Kerr in the 12 still managing to find his way in the middle.
Connor Horn sees second. He's getting tight. And I think Venable overreacted to Horn getting tight there, backed off, and he is going to lose a significant amount of time and positions there. Let's check this out on our Hendry County replay.
Yeah, good send from the 57 into turn 3, and Venable saw that he was coming up and
contact
backed off
a little
just
bit.
A little bit of contact. He did back off, but better losing just a couple of positions than an entire race car in itself.
Yeah, one more look at that, and you're going to see that huge wiggle there. And again, as you said, he has the race car. He's in the 5th spot, but 5th ain't second. But that moves Connor Horn into the 2nd spot. And Darlington, he was really well off in podium car and got kind of caught out in the late race issues that happened there. Another one, Casey Lakatos, had issues at the end of the race. Another driver who got bit by Darlington here, but Horn in 2nd. Jeff Wright, who has really been turning the wick up in the past few weeks, from what my memory serves here, currently running in 3rd. There is the Conga line. Let's find some more battling, and that battling will happen with Zach Kerr and Justin Bolton. Kerr all the way down the inside in that 14th spot, and then just a little bit ahead of that, Scioli and Groner. And now throw John Forbes into the mix. Forbes heading back.
Yeah, Forbes clinging on to that top 10 spot. Scioli trying to mirror drive the 11. Interesting move there. But yeah, Connor Horn, only 1 top 10 in 4 Pro Series starts this season. Looking to change that up. Running 2nd today. Very good for him. Jeff Wright, you mentioned him as well. Coming off a 7th place run at Darlington. 2nd top 10 of the season. The first one came at Indianapolis. But he knows a thing or two about this place. He won here a season ago. Looking to go 2 for 2, or actually 2 straight here at Chicagoland. So he's got great pace today. 44 Zach Nichols has great pace, and Bolton shoots it to the inside of Philip Groner for 12th. He's trying to reclaim that top 10 spot that he lost after a bad pit stop sequence where he went from 7th to 11th, and then he's had to fight ever since the restart just to stay around that top 10 bubble.
Let's just go back and try to find some other guys we haven't spoken of here this evening. This is all the way back in the 20s. Like to get everybody there a little bit of attention here. Joseph Berg running all the way to the top of the track. You got Casey Lakatos there, and big wiggle there from the 15 of Forrest Smith. He's going to go all the way down to the apron. Bryce Senesac, let's go 3 wide here for the 26th position. Enter in turn number 3. Saw the wiggle there from the 15, struggling through the bumps. And now Blaze McKinney. McKinney was higher up, and now he is relegated back to the 29th spot, stuck back in line there. And Justin Opliger, he was a top 10 car and finds himself back in the 32nd spot trying to get through this mess.
Yeah, interesting mix of guys here that they've had pace so far, but they don't have the track position to work with, and now they've got to start from square one. Daniel Day caught up in that caution. Blaze McKinney, Justin Oplinger were up front early on. Now Sebastian Marin, this is like the polar opposite. He was in the back. Now he's up front, and he's got a little more track position to work with. On the bumper is Zach Nichols running in the 4th spot. He'll have a look to the inside. Nate Stewart closing in. Travis Beckner as well, just mimicking the tire tracks of the 24 as he's trying to get alongside Nichols down the back.
trying to get alongside Nichols, and again, the trend seems to be when you're on the inside, you get really tight on exit. You can't run that car all the way to the fence. You have to keep that car yawed down, pulled down, giving your compadre to the top of the track a lane, and that's causing guys to really break loose, get that pushing loose syndrome, and it gets very interesting, very scary. And now, are we going to go 3 wide? I think the answer is going to be yes. Marin to the bottom, Nichols in the middle, and right to the top of the racetrack, but I think they'll get down to a more respective 2x2 heading down the back straightaway as Nichols will try to get by the 48, maybe go Bob's your uncle 2 for 1 on Connor Horn.
Well, a good chance to do so. Won't quite get around the Horn, and 48's going to carry the runoff corner exit. Meanwhile, Nate Stewart saw the side-by-side battles occur, and now he's hooked up to the bumper. Sebastian Marin going through turn 1. Again, just mimicking the tire tracks of the car in front of him. Maybe a little bit of a lower approach there through 1 and 2, but Jake Nichols still with about a 3-car length gap over Connor Horn, and these lap times were about 24 laps in on our run, about 22 or 23 of them maybe under green flag conditions. 1.7 seconds of tire fall off compared to the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, right there, 1.6-ish for Mr. Nichols there, and just gets it on down. But we are already, this race flying by, already at the halfway point. So some things to take care of, some of our admin business to help out with our league here. Take a look at the High Banks podcast. 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Episode 228 has Jacob Bell, the league owner here. That's on Spotify. Check out the High Banks podcast as this battle still goes on. And if you're looking for some entertainment, well, you're watching this battle right in front of you, but you can also check out Elite Entertainment as they provide some of the best entertainment to raise your parties up here in the spring. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, they provide high-quality band production to entertain, including singo, karaoke, and more. Visit the link tree in the description. Some of the partners here with the league, and this battle continuing. And Connor Horn actually starting to make some headway on our race leader.
A little shout out to Adam Capps there, the man behind Elite Entertainment. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Adam. Hope you're having a good one. It's a good show so far, halfway through Chicagoland. Jake Nichols has been the talk of the town so far. Michael Venable as well, but the 77 has tapered off quite a bit, actually. He's outside the top 15, maybe a little further back than that, but yeah, he's running around with Brad Slaughter. After that moment he had inside the top 5, just hasn't been able to recover, but it's been the 77 and the 73 so far throughout the first half of this one. Connor Horn has made his way inside the top 5. Same with Sebastian Marin, Nate Stewart, guys that are come from the back to the front, and guys that have gone from the front to the back. Mentioned Venable, Daniel Day, Blaze McKinney, as well as Justin Opplinger. But it's a great mix of guys, and it's been a good race so far. Only 1 yellow. A lot of good green flag racing.
Absolutely. The Chicagoland Speedway has been a doozy. Always putting on some great racing for us. And next week we will be at the Dover Motor Speedway, so I think that will be a completely different ball game there. Dover is usually a track where a little bit more calamity ensues in those narrow 1-mile high-banked confines. So make sure you stay tuned for that, as a little bit of bump drafting through the Tri-Oval at Chicago. Was that on your bingo card? Wasn't on mine, but here comes Marin ripping the fence, trying to get to the outside of Nichols. That fence line doesn't maintain that run the way you'd think it would. Let's see what he does through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Marin was kind of hounding on these guys, waiting to pounce at the right opportunity. These guys still going at it right on the outside. Have to back off a little bit, maybe a scrape of the wall. This will be the chance for Marin that he needs, at least for the moment, to the inside of right for 4th, maybe even 2 for 1, trying to get around Zach Nichols in the 44.
Yeah, but can he maintain the run off of 2? You can see that 44 fighting the wheel there, as many people are at this juncture in the run. Stint-wise, we're looking at lap number 30, so probably a maximum of 20 or so laps. We could do a little bit of math to see where they get to the end of the race. I guess if they get to lap 80, Connor, I called you Connor because we were talking about Connor. If they get to lap 80, Hunter, I'd say probably the window opens to finish this thing out, and presumably that would be the only strategy. It would just be a matter of when the overcut, when the undercut's going to be on the tires.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting one. So these guys pitted about 30 laps ago, right around lap 40 when that yellow came out. Fuel went about 55 to 60. So you can run it all the way to the end of your fuel run here. Nichols and Marin going to touch there all four. Probably split in half. So about 45 laps in. So about maybe lap 85 to lap 90, we'll see some guys try to split in half, come down pit road. At least some will. I think most are going to want to stay out, run the fuel stint. It's going to be tough on the tires, but you're going to have fresher tires at the end if you run it all the way through. You'll pit with around 100 to go, so you have about 30 laps or so on fresher tires compared to those that might pit earlier for splitting the stage in half, or splitting the rest of the race in half, I should say.
Yep, and that one lap on either end, it'll cost you, like you were talking about, it'll cost you 2 seconds on the stopwatch. So do you want to make that lap early? Do you want to pit right afterwards and be the chaser or the chasee? Those decisions will have to be made. Justin Bolton doing a little bit of a dive down into the inside will clear that 9th spot. John Furness drops a little bit back. And let's go find some other action on the track. We go a little bit further back. Anna Sogak trying to get by Venable, and we talked a little bit ago about Venable being outside the top 15. Now he is outside of the top 20. I think, you know, we talk about it here on iRacing all the time, Hunter. Once that tire gets mad, you overheat it, you know, you do a massive slide, that temperature spikes. And once that tire gets mad, it stays mad. It never truly recovers. And the handling degrades for the whole run. And I think Venable is kind of stuck with that syndrome.
At least for now. It's a shame, too. He had great pace. And I mentioned it after about 20 laps or so, that the times that they stayed the same. So looking through, Jake Nichols ran a 33.3 last time through, 77 33.5. So it's about the same throughout most of the field. So once the tires do even out, it's about the same pace throughout the field. Just a shame the track position went away for the 77. I mean, maybe we get a yellow in and he can switch it up with a 2-tire call to try and make up some track position. We'll have to see if that is the case. Meanwhile, a little further up the road, Zach Kerr, Matthew Bappy running 15th and 14th on the track. Got Matt Kemp in the 51. He needs a good run. He's sitting 20th in points with that win at Daytona. You have to be top 20 in points with a win to your name in order to make the playoffs. So he is on the cusp of missing out on that. So Kemp needs every good bit that he can. Meanwhile, Nichols and Horn going to go at it for
you
second.
called him Corn too. I did it earlier. Yeah, so Connor Horn, Corn. I mean, if that nickname doesn't exist here on May 8th, 2025. My God, I wish it was 2015. I've been 10 years younger. Either way, we'll solidify that, the PTR TV nickname for Connor Horn. But he kind of goes and ebbs and flows because he would close into about 2/10 of Jake Nichols, make you think there's a battle for the lead. Then he falls on back, and you can see just from even that angle, really slideways, got that right rear yacht out. And look at Zach Nichols all the way to that door. He's trying to give himself the best corner entry he can. And I think he'll dive it on in there, and he'll clear with relative ease. So move that 44 up to P2. And soon to be, look to see if that 24 moves up to P3. He got by Jeff Wright. Now he's going to put his focus on this battle, but Horn doesn't look like he's done yet.
No, I don't think Marin's done either. He's looking at Horn for that 3rd spot to the inside through turn 2. That momentum on the outside, he's going to carry some run down the back stretch, a little bit more than what Marin had. Jeff Wright holding his own in 5th, and then close nose and tail battle throughout the rest of the top 10. Beckner trying to get a run around the 05 and 8. Stewart having a solid showing in P6. Not sure if we've given Hendry County their flowers yet, but Travis Beckner, the official flagman for the southernmost dirt track in Florida, having a solid showing inside the top 10. He's still looking to the inside now from the 05, trying to take 6th away.
Yeah, but Nate Stewart using that outside lane, and again, everybody's starting to struggle there on that inside as it rubbers up. The heat builds up in that lane. The rubber builds up. It turns it a little bit slick. So then that outside lane that is less used, more gritty. That's where you start to find that speed. Let's bring up our track temp one more time. I think we started around 110. We've gone up a little bit here, but again, Beckner not giving up there, trying to make the pass or trying to hang on to Nate Stewart there. He'll drive it on in. Is he going to do the slider? question is asked. Answer is yes. But now the crossover from Nate, who presumably will do the same thing here in 3.
Beckner could run that outside, so won't have an opportunity to cross him up. And if he will, he'll have to be on the outside. Maybe. No, I'm wrong. He'll have a run to the inside. He proved me wrong again. That's why he's the flagman for Henry County Motorsports Park. Took out on his bad side. He'll black flag you, allegedly. All jokes aside, he's a very fast driver, giving it his all to Nate Stewart. And here's John Forbes Jr. Whoa! Oh, contact! There goes the 27 spinning on the backstretch. Him and Nate Stewart around. That might not be a caution. Forget that. 50 to go. The yellow's out. Close racing inside the top 10.
Yeah, we saw that happening live. Quite literally, we saw it live. We were on board when it happened, but let's check it out on our Henry County Motorsports Park replay. We'll just look at it from an outside perspective. Even though we saw it live, we'll just go straight top-down style. And you can see the crossover move was made. The slider, I mean, was there space? Yes. I mean, there was space. But Nate didn't want to do the crossover. Maybe he wasn't happy necessarily about how tight that crossover, that slider was made. We'll go on board quickly with Nate. Actually, at that perspective, I don't even know if he would have had the opportunity to cut down low. He kind of made that move so late. I don't think the 05 could have turned left if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, John Forbes Jr. was hounding on his bumper as well, had to do something, so he had to look to the inside, just clipped the left rear of Beckner, and both those guys are now outside the top 10. We'll see what the admins rule on that. And by the way, no incident points have been given out yet. The 2 incidents that have occurred on track been deemed racing incidents up until this point. We'll have to see what the admins decide. Meanwhile, pit stops coming through, and this is where we could see that 24 propel himself into the front row on this restart because he's got that first pit box.
And he drove in very, very competitively in there. He did not have that much space behind. You could see Blaze McKinney on the struggle bus here. What are you doing? But I think he's having to reset his pit crew there, backed all the way up. That will hurt him immensely. And exiting the stall here is that P2 for Sebastian Marin. Survey says yes.
How about Justin Bolin up to the top 5? And like I mentioned earlier, he's only run 4 races this season in the Pro Series. Finished inside the top 10 in every one of them. Worst finish, 9th. His best finish, 4th in the other 3 races. And his worst finish of 9th, I was out a mile and a half at Homestead earlier this year. But the 4, right place at the right time towards the end of this race.
Now we'll see if he can pull that old Harvick closer card off here, take advantage, especially if this does start to turn the other direction when it comes to, race cleanliness, to say it nicely. But if things get dirty, you might need to get new clean clothing. And if you need clean clothing, you can go to shop.areairacing.com, and you can get high quality merch at low prices. Search from over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, champion brand clothing, and other area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com. As we are going 1 to go. No surprise that 73 will maintain that outside position. But if there's anybody you're going to put on the inside who you're going to have a fear that they might snooker you, it'd be that 24.
This would probably be the best restart of the race so far. It's about the latest we've seen these guys go into the race with the way that this restart has been. Usually Lear gets a good jump, but Marin's going to give Jake Nichols a run for his money, that's for sure. And on the opening couple of laps, we've seen these guys where they give it their all going through the first couple of laps, because then track position starts to settle in, lap times sort of average out. So really that clean air is going to be very crucial here.
We'll see what happens here as we're now sub 50 to go. We will no longer, the odds of, there will be no green flag stops. These guys can make it to the end, but will they have to? Well, we'll have to find out together. The pace car pulls in, entering the restart zone. 73 will get the jump, and Marin by no means is going to make this restart competitive. He's going to fall back, and even Connor Horn may get second here. Marin caught sleeping as we head off into turn 1.
caught sleeping for now. We'll see what it says in about a lap or so. Horn on the outside, Marin tight on the inside. Zach Nichols not really sure where to go. He'll just follow with the momentum on the 57 into turn 3. Bolton and Furness are door-to-door for 5th, heading into 3 and through 4. Furness is going to give way. The 4 of Bolton's going to clear. And then Marin up front, still trying to get around Connor Horn for 2nd. Going to be close coming into turn 1.
Yeah, Connor Horn is hanging on for dear life here. Not because of the tires, but just due to the competitor that he has. Marin drove it in super deep, had to back off because he reached the back bumper of the 73. Contact with Horn off of 2. They'll remain door-to-door. Now, Zach Nichols, he's just ready and just waiting to see what's going to happen, who's going to persevere. And that 24 driving in really deep contact with Horn. Horn remains and keeps it off the wall, but that surely ain't going to make him too happy.
No, Horn is not going to appreciate that right now. He's going to lose another spot to Zach Nichols in the 44. He's going to drive it in a little bit deeper on that outside just to try and get around that 44. It's going to be tight on exit as well. And he's right behind the 24 of Marin. I would probably not be in the way. He's going to give it his all. He's giving his all again on the outside, trying to get around that 44 just so he has a shot at the 24. And Nichols got loose. Here comes Marin to the inside looking for the lead. Zach Nichols going to push him through. Nichols led this time by, that being Jake. Zach giving the run to the 24, Sebastian Marin. New leader here at Chicagoland. It's Sebastian Marin.
And that's the best place Sebastian Marin can be now, because Connor Horn probably is wants to put the horns out, but unfortunately he had the car to the inside. Couldn't quite reciprocate if he wanted to. But either way, 24 to the lead, doing the last to first challenge, or as close to it as he physically could. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We know that 44 has speed. Zach Nichols, always one to watch, doesn't have a win yet this season, but if you remember him at New Hampshire, he got the lead. We thought he was toast, and he damn near won the race. So let's not count our chickens too early here, but Sebastian Marin has the lead. Can he run that competitive pace and keep the tires on it? He usually does, but you never say never.
You never truly do. It's going to be very tough, though, because fuel probably not going to be that much of a concern, and the tire wear usually evens out after about 20 laps or so. So it's going to be tough for these guys to try and muster up enough strength or run to get around the 24. But crazier things have happened in the past. Justin Bolton holding on to 5th for the time being, right behind Connor Horn. Jeff Wright trying to re-enter the top 5. Close nose and tail racing throughout this entire top 10, really. And going back to that last yellow, that was also ruled a racing incident between the 05 of Nate Stewart and the 27 of Travis Backner. So that's why Nate Stewart is still inside the top 10. Had a good pit stop as well, running in the 9th spot.
Yeah, he never really got sideways in that. Of course, he kind of just maintained going straight there while that caution happened, so didn't really affect him too badly there. Of course, it was Beckner who got the bad end of the stick there. He's back in 26, so I don't see any damage there, but it's just been hard to pass here, even though this place is so multi-groove, very hard to pass. And the Nichols buddies, I mean, you want to say the brothers Nichols, but it's not. The Nichols buddies battling for the 2nd spot. Jake looked low, but Zach will hang on as that lead stretching on out. And again, Justin Bolton, you talked about him showing his stuff here, and I wonder if Connor getting loose and having all those issues, maybe he's already overexerted himself here, and he's got a conga line of spots he could potentially lose right behind him.
Yeah, and Justin Bolton's going to have to make a move soon because that 48 is closing in. He's running that outside lane. He'll have a look, and Bolton can't come up to shut the doors, so the 48, just like my cat, got his paw in the door, and now he won't leave him alone until he gets what he wants, and he's going to do just that. He'll have a strong run coming out of 4, and again, just like my cat, he'll slowly but surely creep his way in.
And now he has that preferred lane here. Bolton not really going to have anything he can do, and the 48 can just drive it in deep there on that outside. 4 doesn't really even gain through the center of the corner. Let's see if the 48 will clear. He had to really cut it on down to evade that safer barrier, but he should clear. And then he walls himself down the straightaway here. So takes a mile an hour or two off, but he should still maintain for that position. Going a little bit further back, Justin Oplinger, we showed him in the mid-30s earlier, late high 20s, early 30s. He's gotten himself back into the mid-teens more respectfully. And then what's that gaggle we have going on? Venable, whose day just went all the way in the dump truck back in 22nd. Beckner in the middle of this Daytona Talladega craziness nest here back in the mid-20s.
And McKinney bounced off the wall there, but still keeping strong pace along the outside of Beckner. This is right around, say, 23rd, 24th on the racetrack. Braxton Luis there in the 13, going to close in. Jonathan Evans, really haven't talked too much about him today. It's kind of been around mid-pack or right around that gaggle of cars. Not been a day to remember for the 26, more like a day to forget.
Yeah, exactly that here. And again, Nichols duo. I got to come up with some kind of name that's accurate for them, but still battling for second. And Marin did jump out, and now he's jumping back. I guess, what's that thing? You jump in, you jump back. The hokey pokey, I guess you could say that they're doing that. Because he's starting to come back to these guys just a little bit, but will he stretch the legs out once more as we close in on the century mark here? Speaking of... No, there's no segue, but I do have to talk about hot sauce here on the evening. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces in South Florida. Try a Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series on Monday night. See who will take home the $100 prize. Sometimes it's a segue, sometimes there's not, but either way, go check out some hot sauce, link in the description.
Indeed, this one's starting to get to the boiling point, if you will, about a few laps away, a couple laps I should say, from the lap 100 mark, so we'll be within 30 to go in just a short moment. The 4 and the 48, again, dueling it for the top 5 position. 3 of the 4 races that Justin Bolton's raced in the Pro Series so far this season, he's finished inside the top 5, all of which inside the top 10. I'm not gonna lie, kind of pulling for him to finish 4th again, just so you can say that the 4 car has finished 4th 4 times this season. That'd be pretty cool to see and stay. He'll have a run on the outside, so he'll keep that 5th spot. Well, spoke too soon, got a little bit carried away with corner exit. Now the 48 will have a look to the inside and turn 3.
And the battle of the beverages, one of them is child-friendly, like Victory Fuel is, and one of them ain't, and that is the Busch car of Justin Bolton battling off of turn number 4, and Bolton will hang on for now, but that's going to allow John Furness and that number 28. Don't recommend drinking Havoline, but he is to the outside there of right, and he's going to be the highest of the bunch there, trying to get that momentum off the corner as the 4 again trying to make another surge to the inside of Horn.
Gonna give a good look to the inside and trying to take that 4th spot away. Again, he's always been fast every race this season. Only 4 races and he's inside the top 20 in points, so just goes to show how fast that 4 car is week in and week out whenever he's here. I'll have to get clarity on if he's eligible for the playoffs, if he has a win, or if he just simply races his way in. We know Nate Stewart can definitely race his way in. He's been in every race this season and slowly climbing the leaderboard again and climbing the point standings as well. Zach Kerr finally inside the top 10. I feel like he's been around that 12th, 13th spot the entire day, and now he's finally inside the top 10 with less than 30 to go. Bolton and Horn still door-to-door for 4th.
Yes, they are. Connor Horn is a little bit of contact there. I think he's turning into the Ryan Newman of this race right now, being the impossible one to pass here. Or maybe the Ross Chastain, depending on which era you're in. More contact here. We're not at an IHOP, but we're making pancakes, and maybe we're going to be turning each other here. Connor Horn has not been on the right end of the spectrum here when it comes to guys to his inside here today, and just about found out the hard way.
Yeah, so close yet so far. I mean, this is still such a good battle for 4th, but these guys are losing time. 1.4 seconds back from race leader Sebastian Marin, who slowly but surely hasn't been pulling away, but the 44 Zach Nichols has reeled him in just a little bit. Jake Nichols 6 car lengths back from the lead, but we're going to touch for 4th heading into 3.
And that's not just door tapping. You can see, literally, you can see the hands on Connor Horn really having to, turn to the right there because it was nearly a hook between the 4 and the 57. I understand side drafting and see right there, that's the contact that's dangerous. And well, that certainly is dangerous there. That contact is going to work out for the 4. But let's see if they do it again down the max straightaway once more. It's right been at the end. That's where they've been touching. And there it is again. And that's going to put the 57 in the wall.
Oh, that's not good at all. I was just going to say Connor Horn, his only top 10 finish this season was at Watkins Glen. His top 10 run tonight might be in jeopardy after that contact with the turn 3 wall.
We'll see how Discord is after the race. Might be interesting here because Connor Horn might be a little bit displeased with the course of events here, but that's Nate Stewart ripping the top of the track, 48 of Jeff Wright. And now look at that momentum off the top. The 05 did it the way you're supposed to. He got that massive run off of the corner, used it down the straightaway, grabbed about 2 spots here. Now he'll close in on the 57, but Furness is going to prepare for a little bit of a crossover. And he's going to go all the way down to the flat with the assistance of the 12, but it'd be hard to maintain that run to the inside, especially if the 05 makes that good turn. But they're going to squeeze 3 wide into 1 lane of racetrack.
That was very tight. That 05, that last lap through, I think he gained 3 spots that lap just from running that outside lane and then having the momentum carried down the back and into 3 and 4, shut the door on Furness. And Zach Nichols still has the door shut on Jake Nichols, as Jake has actually reeled in Zach. He's lost a couple of tenths over the last couple of laps, and Sebastian Marin's still half a second lead up on the Nichols, not brothers, but they're contending for that second spot as the 24 continues to try and drive away.
Running in different lanes here as they're about 0.3 of a second back, and it kind of shuffles between that and about 0.3 of a second at minimum. Now we're back up to a half second, so will it extend? Will it not? Will there be a caution? These guys are trying their hardest to throw a caution here. They've used 2 sets of Goodyears here on the evening. Still 2 more sets to put on if the avail does present itself here. That's Matthew Batby having some connectivity issues there in that number 71. But I think we finally situated ourselves. And again, you have to just give full credit to Connor Horn. He's literally gone through like he's raced at the LA Coliseum with the way he's been getting pushed around here today, but still maintaining control of the car and maintaining for now a top 5 spot.
Yeah, for now, because Nate Stewart's closing in. He's running a lane up through 3 and 4, just trying to get some sort of clean air on the nose. Not running the tire tracks of the 57, do something a little different to try and close in. Again, his only top 5 finish was also his only top 10 finish of the season. That was at Watkins Glen. For both guys, it was their best finish of the season thus far. So both guys already running better than where they were at the Glen. Meanwhile, the 11 of Philip Groner trying to close back in on that top 10. He's a couple spots out of it with Zach Kerr and John Furness dueling it out for a 10th. And look at that 88 car in the back. He's had a quiet night. He was running outside the top 21 point, the pole sitter for Monday night's Cup race. Slowly but surely has crawled his way close enough to where he can sniff the top 10. Solid 13th place for the 88 of Jesse Anasogak so far.
Up in there, he is in 13th, and you can see there on the graphic the pace has dropped off to about 33 second laps, about a second and a half slower than our best laps have been here on the evening. And we'll just, everybody's lap time there on the ticker. Again, we're going to be running to this thing to the end. We've been out for 28 laps, so be about 45 laps to the end. It'll be the longest stint I believe we've run yet, because as soon as we were about to hit green flag stops earlier, the caution has interrupted the sequence. But at this point in the race, I think everyone's banking on it going to the end, but of course you'll never know if that's the right call. But up front, they're just trading laps. One lap, Marin might be 2 100ths faster. The next lap, it might be Zach. So that lead not really disintegrating, just kind of going between 4 and 5/10 of a second. We'll see who ultimately falls off the cliff harder, but we still don't have an answer quite yet.
Yeah, still enough time to change the shuffling of this running order, if you will. Zach Nichols within a half a second now of Sebastian Marin. Jake Nichols just buying his time and slowly but surely drifting away, about 9/10 of a second, about to be a second now off of the leader. Justin Bolin has rallied the troops and just after he got through with Connor Horn, he's sort of just kept a cool, calm, and collected, closing in on the top 3.
Yes, he is there, and you said you wanted him to get the top. I think you wanted Bolton to finish 4th. If he finishes 3rd, we get to speak to him. Finishes 4th, the statistic looks better, but we don't get to have a word with him, so we'll see if that happens here. He has, I believe it's 0.8 of a second to go until he can get to that battle. But if they start battling for the lead, which if you look on the ticker, it was a half second. Now it's kind of on the low end of 0.4 of a second, so maybe, just maybe, Marin is losing that lead inch by inch. But as the old adage says, passing is one thing. Well, catching him is one thing, passing him is another there. Speaking of passing, top 10 has been where it's at. Kerr is going to wash up, tries to get to the inside of Furness, but there is Groner to fill in the spot to the outside. And then Anna Sogak, he's 13th. He sees some more. And then Daniel Day, he spun around earlier, but he's made a good recovery there. He's 14th, and there's some more on the table in front of him.
Well, Anna Sogak 3 wide. The 11 and 12 going to touch again. They're both going to lose a spot to the 88. Here comes Daniel Day. Groner's going to block him into the outside wall. Groner's going to corral it, try to get into turn 1. Brad Slaughter's coming through. He's going to try and clear the 11. Daniel Day having to fight for everything in turn 2. Crazy sequence of events here.
Yeah, Philip Groner here. Just look at this here on the Hendry County replay. He went up to go block, and there wasn't enough time, and look at that massive save into the corner. And I think without any form of hesitation, we're going to offer him the Ricky Rudd Save of the Race Award.
How did you save that car?
Well, I'm just so daggone good.
Throughout the sequence of that, Anna Sogak's now 1 spot away from the top 10, and bobbing and weaving through. The 8 of Brad Slaughter is 13th. Best he's been so far tonight. The 7, best he's been so far as well. Trying to get around the 48 of Jeff Wright for the 7th spot. James Skyler's been a slow charging pace to the front. He's been fast, but just not up and inside the top 5. But he's closing in on that. Got to get around the 48 to do so first.
Yeah, that inside lane, it's really, really hard to make that pass made. And but again, working his way up. And then, as you said a little bit earlier, while we were giving the 11 the Ricky Rudd Award of the race there, Brad Slaughter, I don't think we've said his name since the starting lineup. He has methodically just worked his way through the field from the 23rd spot, stuck in the Hornets' nest, but has worked his way up, driven competitively, kept that 8 car in one piece, and now is knocking on the door of a top 10. The top 10 is in front of him. He can see John Furness from where he is. You go on board, you can look to that inside, you can see that black, white, and gold Haviland car. Whether he can get that in 13 laps is to be determined. But what else is to be determined is the finish of this race, because in that lead is kind of stabilized out at about 0.4 of a second, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. This time by Marin actually stretches it out by a little bit. But we'll see if that trend continues. Coming through 1 and 2, you can see the different lines. Marin is running high, and Nichols dedicated right to that white line. And I guess we'll see which person will persevere.
Oh, holy guacamole. Right around the top 10. Spots are changing like crazy. Matthew Bappy, John Furness going at it, and then in the back there, Brad Slaughter again on the charge. He's trying to get 11th clear from Zach Kerr in the 12. Anna Sogak down a couple of spots. Philip Groner climbing back through. I was going to say Brad Slaughter, 38th in points. It has not been a great season for him. He's made every race this season. Best finish of 20th at Rockingham. So, don't know what it is about Chicagoland, but the 8 has really turned it loose here. And mentioned Monday night, he was about 3/4 of a lap short of finishing inside the top 5. He had race-winning pace, and just fuel run didn't quite work out the way he wanted to. Had to save at the end, ended up costing him the lead, top 5, so on and so forth. So solid recovery tonight from the 8. Meanwhile, Bappy in the 71 and the 28 of John Furness, they're duking it out for 9th, which is just up the road. And a couple of guys we haven't talked about too much. I mean, we've talked about Nat Kemp in the 51. Haven't said the name Garrett Grant tonight. And then the 93, Joseph Berg. Solid showing there so far. And Grant's going to get a little sideways there coming out of the turn. But I just lost my train of thought. You're good.
Oh, no.
Whoa!
Zach Kerr. And we go from having ourselves a tire save and shootout here, and guys, maintaining things, and we'll go and search things out on our replay. Let's see. Oh, he got a lot of help. He got so much help, you'd think he hired a tutor. We'll see.
We'll
see what happens.
That was an interesting look.
On our replay here. I mean, I try to be the optimistic one and find reasons as to why things happen. I got nothing for that one, but that's not my job to do that. So that's the admin's job, but the driver's job is to maintain this last pit stop and do the best they can, because this is, as we say, the money stop.
Yeah, the yellows have come out in similar bunches tonight. Looking through, around 93 to go, we had a yellow. 50 to go, we had a yellow. And 10 to go, the yellow comes out. If you're going to take 2 tires, now would be the time. And if you're Michael Venable in the 77, you got to take 2, make up some track position, got to do something different, try and work your way back up through the field. I think most guys are going to take 4 here, but if you're that far back, you might as well take 2. And I think someone did. That was that Opplinger?
Yep, 9.3 seconds. Jeremy Miller stays out. So Jeremy Miller is the leader, the only person to, is that Matt Kemp in the 51. He is back in 14th, but he was further back. So 2 drivers choosing to take 2 tires here. Jeremy Miller staying on the track in the number 30 car. Whether he is actually staying out or not, I guess we'll find out. Is he planning on pitting this time by and just wanted the little attention and to reset through the field, or is he planning on staying out on 40-lap Goodyear Eagles? Survey says he done staying out.
Well, considering we haven't said his name up until now, besides the starting lineup, I would say he's doing a little something to try and salvage his race. I don't think he's had a enjoyable night so far from the looks of things. So staying out, this is his first lap sled tonight. Going to be something different. It's really going to put Jake Nichols in a bad spot if he cannot go. And teammates, by the way, with 609 there on the first 3 cars on the outside lane. Opplinger, even though he's on old tires, he's going to be, well, actually he's on 2 tires. He'll have a better jump, but it's all about that 24. Sebastian Marin, what's he going to do? Is he going to take it 3 deep going into the corner, or?
I don't even know what the alternative is, but I'm just going to say yes. Well, actually, if I'm going to take my picks on this restart, I'm actually going to prefer to be Jake Nichols on this one, because I would rather be able to just go rip around the outside than dive it down to the inside and have to go underneath, see if anybody washes up into me. But we'll see what happens. We're on 1 to go, Hunter. Maybe for the final time, but there's a possibility it's not.
Very good possibility it's not, the way these late race restarts are. Going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. Pace car is in. Jeremy Miller stayed out. He's the leader. Opplinger on 2 tires. He's second, and we're green, and Opplinger is not going.
Yeah, he's not going. And did we say 3 wide? Oh, he is just completely pulling the parachute out here. And then here comes Sebastian. Did you say he's going 3 wide? Answer yes. Opplinger is going to run the middle. Can he maintain? No, he cannot. Jake Nichols going to go to the outside. Here comes Zach Nichols down to the bottom, but Marin gets the spot. But look at the run from the 44. Gets himself to the inside of Marin, entering 1 and 2. He has the position, and he may even clear. But let's see if the 24 can maintain.
He's going to have a run on the outside. It all depends on what Jake Nichols is going to do. We're wrecking all 4. The yellows out. The 44 was leading at the time of caution.
44 will get the edge here on the caution, and it's going to be Adrian Schumacher here. I don't think we've said that name once today. He did some agricultural work. Let's see what caused that agricultural work here on the Hendry County replay. 29 turns the 13, and then just a whole bunch of kerfuffling after that.
Poor Jeremy Miller was involved in that as well. So he went from being the leader to being caught up in that carnage.
Yes, one more look at that. Look at that number 15 car. Oh, it wasn't the 15. And I thought I saw the 15, but 13 perhaps it was. But one more perspective of that. Yes, there we go. Look at that bright white, green, blue car, and they're basically 4 wide for a brief moment with Miller to the outside. So I really have a hard time putting much fault on Weishart there, but again, not our decision to make. But yeah, just a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, and we're going to get our first overtime finish ever for Chicagoland, so it's going to be fun. And that caution could not have come out at a much better time for Zach Nichols. I mean, you saw the run he had through 1 and 2. It was so quick. He had a good shot to the inside already, but that bump that Jake Nichols gave to Marin heading into 3, kind of what made it a little bit dicey as far as who would get the jump and who would get the preferred line going through the corner of the straightaway into turn 1. But the yellow came out the right time for Zach Nichols, and he'll be in a good spot to try and pull away and get his first win of the season.
Yeah, exactly that. We are getting some information from admin here regarding some of our wrecks, and Philip Groner getting 2 incident points added to his tally. And we did read at minimum, so they are looking at that. If you're a basketball fan, maybe a flagrant 2, perhaps on the 11 that will be decided. And again, to be decided on that wreck we saw with the 29 and the 13, because as we said, a little bit of extracurriculars to be decided there with the position they were put in. So not looking forward to being an admin right now, but luckily I'm not. That's their job, but they're going to have some stuff to decide, and we're going to have some stuff to call, because we will head into overtime here on our 1 to go.
Yeah, you know what? It might be, depending on when the yellow came out. And yeah, the yellow came out before they got to 5 to go. So this is a
regulation
natural green-white checker. So this is not a overtime finish
come on,
yet.
I just updated the ticker.
Jumped the gun on that one, but if they do wreck here, then it'll be an official green-white checker attempt.
Yeah, so it's, again, regulation, so I think we have 3. So technically, I guess if you want to extrapolate it out, we could have a maximum of 4 green-white checkers if that situation avails. And really hope that it doesn't, but let's hope we have a good finish. 44 has the lead. Marin is going to be hungry because that 44 took it from him, and he's going to want it. But look at that 73 there in 3rd. Connor Horn in 5th on that outside lane, in 6th rather. He's going to be hungry too. He's went through the ringer here. Let's see what happens in that restart zone for what could be the final time. Fanning on out. Great jump by the 44. Let's see what happens in turn number 1.
And they're 3 wide, and we've been looking 4 wide in the back, and that's why it was crucial to have that lead at the time of yellow. The run that the 44 got, it's big enough to where Marin and Nichols fighting off for 2nd and 3rd. Meanwhile, wrecking in the back, Inasoga gets turned by Pepe. Massive wreck down the backstretch. Cautious is going to come out. Now we have an official green-white checker attempt at Chicagoland.
There's the 88 of Anna Sogak, 65 of Ben Pierce there, and you just hate when these kind of things happen there, Hunter, because you have a really clean race that just goes astray. It kind of changes its vibe at the very end, almost on his side there. We'll get one more perspective of that. I think it was the 17 of John Forbes making some contact there with the number 71 of Batby. You can see here off of turn number 2, there is some contact. There goes Anna Sogak around, and again, Batby almost on his lid there, entering the corner. That will put us under an actual, and then a last-second T-bone from Ben Pierce.
Yep, that'll put us under an actual green-white checker attempt, so it's a shame that the strong run that the 88 had at the end is thwarted from the late race carnage. But that's just expected, the carnage, that is, whenever you get into these late race restarts. So now we do have our first official green-white checker attempt in the history of the Area Pro Series running at Chicagoland.
Thought I saw a little cloud cover coming over the speedway there, which will add a little bit of grip in certain portions of the track. And we'll just go back and just analyzing that restart where Nichols got the lead. It almost looked there, Hunter, as if Marin was on 2 tires. We know he's not, but just the speed difference and the ability that Zach had to drive it in underneath Marin and hold on for that lead, that was just super impressive.
Yeah, again, being the leader on these restarts is very crucial. We've seen it throughout the night. They just get such a big jump. It's almost impossible to overcome it, and especially in a green-white checker scenario. So as long as Zach Nichols gets fired off and away, it's going to be hard to see Sebastian Marin or Jake Nichols try to overtake him for the win.
Will be indeed getting some insight again from that most recent wreck. 2 incident points being issued to the 17 of John Forbes and 1 incident point being issued to the 87 of fill me in here, who's the 87? Blaze McKinney there. So admin probably thought this was an easy race, probably thought they could throw that notebook away, like, I don't need a notebook today, this thing's running green. And now all of a sudden writing down furiously hot and heavy towards the end of this Florida Estate Builders Pro Series race here at Chicago. Going 1 to green and choose cone. The leader gets lane choice, not necessarily a choose cone, but leader gets lane choice. And for one of the few times here today, leader choosing the inside lane. And I think just not giving that immediate opportunity for the full send dive is probably not a bad decision.
Especially in a short run too, because they're not going to be that up to speed. They might have something through 3 and 4, but by that point they're already about 2-3 car lengths off just because of how strong of a run you get, or of a jump you guys should say, on the restart. So again, as long as Zach Nichols doesn't spin the tires here, or unless the 24 just matches the same exact speed that Zach Nichols does on the restart, then should be his race to lose. Still looking at some guys in the back trying to get their best finishes of the season. Bolton, again, he's finished 4th 3 different times this season. Could be better this time off. Slaughter looking for his first top 10. Nate Stewart looking for another top 10. And how about John Forbes Jr. still in a good spot to get a top 10?
John Forbes Jr. trying to get a top 10 even after that little faux pas there, but in the restart zone again, Marin really struggles. That gives about a 2-3 car length gap right off the jump to Zach Nichols off of the get-go here, and they're going to go 3 wide. I see this. I think that's Scioli getting himself feisty going down to the bottom 3 wide. Look at Slaughter ripping the fence there, nearly 4, and he'll get in the fence. Connor Horn, he'll hit the wall. He'll maintain the spot, stay straight, and we're trying to get to the white.
I'm sorry, Brad. Commentator's curse. He got a little too high through 1 and 2. Clipped Connor Horn on corner exit. Coming to the start-finish line for the white flag at Zach Nichols. We will have a finish one more time from Chicagoland.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens here. Connor Horn's race goes from bad to worse. He was in the top 5, now back in the mid-teens here, but a huge gap there from Zach Nichols. He ran about a 2nd, 3rd place race all event, and then took advantage of the restart, got the gap, drove it by the master, Sebastian Marin.
Someone was on the apron heading into turn 3.
But ultimately, a huge run through 3 and 4 for Marin to make it close. But Zach Nichols is going to win here at Chicagoland in a pseudo double overtime finish.
Wow, what a run there at the end. I'm not sure who that was on the inside heading into turn 3. If that was a slow car or not, but I thought we were about to see a real bad wreck coming in.
Oh, yeah. Who was that to the inside? Yeah, somebody was down there the inside. Actually, was that Nate Stewart? It was. Something happened to Nate Stewart. Let's see this very quickly on replay so we can get to our post-race show here. Yeah, he got kerfuffled there. That was a hard left. I was wondering if that was some kind of a hardware failure, but either way, poor run for him, but not a poor run for Zach Nichols as he'll burn it down, get the first win of the season, get take that chip off the shoulder, something about a monkey's back. I can't quite think of the saying right now, but he'll get to celebrate with Victory Fuel here. You can celebrate along with Zach with your caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, Lucky Lemon. Each can packed with electrolytes, charged with vitamins, and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with code Area iRacing at checkout. Zach Nichols will burn it on down, and we'll burn it down with our post-race show here, Hunter, and go over our final results here today from Joliet.
Yep, third in the point standings, but he'll probably move up to second after this one's said and done. Zach Nichols' first win of the season in race 8 at Chicagoland, holding off Sebastian Marin and Jake Nichols in the podium spots. We'll talk to those guys in a bit. James Skylerly edges out Justin Bolton for fourth at the very end, but Bolton, his fourth top 5 finish in 5 starts this season. Again, all 5 starts, he's finished inside the top 10. Jeff Wright, Justin Opplinger, Philip Groner, John Forbes Jr., and Travis Beckner cling on to top 10 finishes from Chicagoland.
11th place finds Brad Slaughter, a good recovery, a good run overall. Mike Venable, he was up and down the grid here today, finishes 12th. Daniel Day, a solid 13th. Matt Kemp, 14th. Bryce Senesac, 15th. Casey Lakatos gets a good 16th place run. Connor Horn, you got a feel for him, going for the lead at some junctures, and he just got pushed around, hit everything but the lottery. In 17th, Berg, Fox, and McKinney rounding out our top 20.
Yeah, 21st, Forrest Smith, Ed Robertson, Nate Stewart had a top 10 run, but on the last lap, contact was made and just unfortunately fell down to 23rd on the standings. Francis Hamilton, John Furness in the top 25. Nico Servideo, Garrett Grant, Ben Pierce, Jeremy Miller, and Justin Sogak round out the top 30.
Just rounding out our grid here today, we got Jonathan Evans, Matthew Batby, Jimmy Cocker, Adrian Schumacher, Braxton DeWeese, David Weishart, Kerr Schaefer, and Liam Sheen. He did not take to the grid via what happened at the Darlington Raceway, but we'll head right to Victory Circle here. And for the first time this season, Hunter will have a word with Zach Nichols, but this time in Victory Lane. I think.
Caught up in Victory Lane with Zach Nichols for the first time this season. Very impressive race from start to finish, top 5 pace all along. But I want you to take me through that restart where Jeremy Miller stayed out, Opplinger took 2 tires, and then you just saw an opportunity, you took it, and then the yellow happened at the right time for you to be the leader. Take me through your thoughts on that restart.
Oh yeah, I definitely got chaotic there on that restart with the 2 people that took 2 and then the one that just stayed out. So yeah, it was very chaotic, and I figured that I knew Sebastian was gonna send it 3 on the bottom, and I kind of just stayed in the second groove, and then right towards the exit of turn 2, I kind of just drove down the racetrack and got a good run on him and was able to get to his inside. And yeah, like you said, got lucky with the caution, and I think we were probably a bumper ahead, and yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a fight for clean air on the every restart so far, or every restart of the night, where the leader just gets such a big jump, but everybody else, if they had a close enough opportunity to do so, they would try to use whatever they can just to get track position because the tires would even out at some point. But we get another mile and a half done, and take us through your initial thoughts on heading into Dover, the Monster Mile, next week.
I ran there good last season until I sped on pit road. So hopefully we can get past the speeding on pit road and see if we can salvage a good finish there.
Alrighty, well, Miles the Monster will be waiting for Zach Nichols, the race winner from Chicagoland.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that is the top of the podium, and now we'll head to second place. Sebastian Marin tried one on Tuesday, couldn't quite get the double duty here today, and on Thursday, you did everything you could do with that EOL. You drove to the front, you got the lead, but that restart with the old tires and 2 tires just didn't work in your favor, man. What did Zach do to drive underneath you? It looked pretty crazy from what we saw.
Yeah, we shouldn't even been in that position to begin with. I mean, he had guys that were in no contention to win the race trying to stay out to benefit their teammates. Since, they couldn't beat me on track, so they were out there just trying to change the outcome of the race. And just got a little unlucky. Obviously had a pretty narrow entry to turn 1, so Jack could just take a bit more arc. And by the time we got to corner exit, I could have stayed low and tried blocking him, but I knew at that point he probably would have hit me, because if I was in his spot, I would have hit him out of the way too, because he had so much more momentum than I did. And then after that, it was going to be a nice battle entering one, and then the yellow came out, and as soon as I lost the lead, I knew it was going to be race over unless he fumbled up the restart. So I knew it was just going to be the fight for second. So a shame that happened, but overall, still another great race, like you said, moving the OL from the back to the front.
I think I accidentally
Obviously
called you the winner on Tuesday night, but I forgot that you had the speed on Tuesday, but the strategy didn't work for you, so Chicago really didn't show your justice. But next week we head to a very difficult track in the form of Dover Motor Speedway. How can we flip the script, and what are we going to translate off into next week?
I don't know, man. Dover's going to be so track position dependent. Like, I feel like you can be much quicker than the guy in front of you, but as long as he just positions his car right, you really can't do anything around there. So we'll have to see. Hopefully the track widens out enough throughout the race where you can move around to then set up somebody for a pass. Because if not, I mean, if we're even remotely close on pace, we're just going to be standing in each other's dirty air until somebody makes a mistake or they really burn up their tires. So it should be fun. I love Dover, probably one of my favorite tracks. I just hope it widens out like it usually does for like Road to Pro or Contender, where we saw where it widens out. So that's the plan.
All right, well, as a commentator and someone who watches you guys, I hope it widens out and it's not a dirty air fest. So I'll hope that as well. And we'll see you next week, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
And then last but not least, the other Nichols in the form of Jake. He'll catch up with Hunter with a podium run tonight.
Yeah, another podium finish this week for Jake Nichols. Finished just runner-up to teammate on Monday and finished third in a solid showing tonight. It seemed like it was all about track position after lap times evened out after about 20 or 30 laps. Being the leader definitely had its dividends. But take me through your thoughts on Chicagoland in the Xfinity car.
It was okay. I felt like for what I enjoyed, it kind of got worse and worse over the run, which I was trying to just find lines. And after a little while, I mean, the first run went pretty good, not even just considering pace, but in terms of just being able to move around and try different stuff. But I don't know if the track temp cooled down or whatnot. I didn't really pay attention to it overall, but it kind of got, I guess, less progressive as the race went on, and we just kind of got forced to run the bottom more often, which wasn't great. I mean, 3 and 4, we kind of are forced there anyways, because the bump in the middle of the corner is so bad in this car. It just shoves you straight. But overall, it's a great night for the 73. Obviously, we led a lot of laps. I felt like our long run pace was better than usual in this car. Just when we fell back to third, it kind of made it impossible to win without something happening. And I felt like we were in a good spot on that first restart after the green flag run there at the end. We kind of got doored for no reason at the green flag. I don't really know why. I didn't even get a good start behind my teammate there that stayed out, and just got kind of used up for no reason at the start. But I mean, so be it. We try to stay clean, and if others don't do the same stuff overall, I mean, so be it. We'll take it in the 609 machine and get a good team points night.
Indeed, you jump up to, well, actually, you stay in third, or actually fourth, I should say, in the standings. Take us through your initial thoughts next week heading into Dover.
We're pretty good there. I'd say, knowing last season, I think James and I are pretty fast, and I didn't even notice until now that he clutched up and got a fourth, which is awesome, even better for team points tonight. But overall, I think we'll be pretty good there. Hopefully the track, isn't just one groove. I think it was multi-groove a little bit last season at some point in the race. So, and we got some green flag racing on, I'm pretty sure. So hopefully we get more of that. We sometimes the respect level goes out the window with some of these races. So hopefully we can just keep having clean races or clean-ish races, and especially up front with those guys, and maybe get a win.
Well, he mentioned that him and James Skyley, they're fast at Dover. They're fast in the Pro Series. They're both tied with 7 top 10 finishes in 8 races this season, including tonight with a podium position for Jake. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, and that'll round out our post-race show here this evening. Another great run here at Chicago. A race that was as clean as a... I don't have an analogy for that. I'm disappointed at myself. I don't have a clean analogy. This race was clean, and then someone went and dumped the trash can out, and it got a little bit dirty, and works out for the 44 getting that first win of the season.
Yeah, it worked out to say the least for them. Looking through the point standings, the first 9 positions did not change at all. I don't think I've ever seen that, but we've had some shakeups inside. 10th on back, Jeff Wright up to 10th plus 4 spots. Justin Bolton, mentioned him, his 4th top 5 finish of the season, his 5th top 10 finish in 5 starts. He's up to 11th in the standings. Imagine if he made the other 3 races, how far up he'd be. Bappy, Kerr, Evans lose 2 to 3 points positions each. Nate Stewart, despite the struggle finish in 23rd, he moved up a spot. Philip Groner up 3 spots in the point standings. Matt Kemp up 2 spots. That's huge. Braxton DeWeese down 4 spots. Logan Clampitt wasn't in tonight, so he's down 7 spots in 20th, so he's on that threshold. Casey Lakatos up to 21st in the standings. Venable rallied through for almost a top 10 finish, up to 22nd in the standings, plus 5. Bryce Senesac plus 4 spots. Ed Robertson plus 2 spots. Very crucial there because right around that 20th spot, those guys, they're all capable of winning at Talladega. Now, I know that we're a bit of a ways between them, but that's the ultimate wild card. Those guys, they all have a shot. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the season plays out, especially next week at Dover.
That'll certainly be interesting. As clean as a living room, cleaned by Danny Tanner. There you go. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, follow us there. On YouTube, we're looking for 1,700 subscribers, so a little bit of help there would certainly be useful. On Facebook, of course, give a follow. And on Twitch, like, follow, and consider subscribing. $5 a month. Get yourself the emotes, double points, and earn yourself some free merch in due course. That's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.